Okay, today we're going to learn how to make cookie cutters using Fusion 360 and Cura. So, if you haven't already, download Fusion 360. Then we're just going to open it up. Alright, now once it's open, we're going to first start by checking some preferences here. Now, when we're making 3D files for 3D printers, rather, we're going to make sure that our Z-axis is up, alright? Because on our printers, the Z-axis is up. That ensures that whenever we send it over to Cura, we don't have to do any excessive rotating or anything of the sort, okay? And then if you look right here, you can see our units. Now, you may prefer millimeters or inches, whichever unit you prefer to use right here, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is download an image that we want to make a cookie cutter of, okay? Once we've got that image downloaded in a known location to our computer, we're going to come up here to Insert, Canvas, and then it's going to ask, select a planar face plane or sketch plane to place the image, okay? So all that's basically asking is select one of these three squares, okay? So as I said before, Z-axis is up, so that's this blue line right here. So we want to work on this face right here, this little yellow square. That's the one we're going to click, okay? And then you can see over here, it's also asking for the image, alright? So we click this little thing here, brings up a dialog box. Now, it automatically opened up to this folder because this is where I traditionally save all of my files that I'm going to make out of, make my cookie cutters out of, rather. Okay, so this is my file right here, and you can see right here you can go through your computer and find wherever you store your file. Alright, just click open, and there it drops it right in there. Alright, now if we click the middle mouse button, that's going to allow us to pan the camera around. Now if we hold shift and then click the middle mouse button, that's going to allow us to rotate. Okay? So, if you also look up here, there's this little cube, alright? And on this little cube, you can select top, and that'll give us a top-down view of our image, alright? This is our little handle for our image. Now, if you need to have your cookie cutter, if you want your cookie shaped just like this with Mickey Mouse's nose over here to the left side, we need to flip this image because whenever we print the image, whenever we print the cookie cutter rather, we're going to do the handle first. So let's hit mirror, alright, and that's going to flip it around, and that ensures that our cookie is facing the correct direction. Okay? Now, once we have that, we just hit enter, and then come over here, this little drop down menu, and this is our image that we selected. Right click, hit calibrate. Alright, what this is going to allow us to do is size up our image to the correct size of our cookie. Okay, so you just click 2 points that you want to use for size reference. And I generally do 3.5 inches for most cookie cutters. Now another thing to note, whenever you're doing this, I'm just going to click the same 2 points. You can also use the metric system. So if I have a millimeter dimension I want to input here, I don't have to bother with going through my preferences and changing my units. So I can just enter something like 100 mm for millimeters, and then it'll size it out to 100 millimeters for you without having to transfer it over. Okay? Now, the next step is we're going to hit this button right here, Create Sketch. Alright, then it's going to ask us to select which plane we want to work on. And of course we're working right here. Now we come up to here. And you see I've already got it saved up here, but we're going to look for fit point spline. Okay? And this is going to allow us to make these curves. Now, use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Mouse wheel down to pan. Okay? And then we're just going to find this point right here. And then we're just going to start clicking. And make these shapes. Alright? Now, you see this little pesky blue line? It kind of snaps to this line, right? Well, we don't need to snap to that line for any reason. So if you hold down Control, it won't snap to the line anymore. And then you can place it however you want. Sometimes it comes in handy to make symmetry and things of that nature, but we don't need that today. So what I like to do is, after I make a point, and it'll give me a little bit of a curvature in my line, I like to try to stretch it out till I get it just to the right shape. So you see if I stop here, I got a little bit of white under my line. So if I stretch it out till it just touches the edge here, it'll keep those nice curves. And we're just going to keep doing this, go all the way around, Control to get that away. Alright, now, I've gone all the way around his ear, and I'm at a hard turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my right click button, and this little menu pops up. Alright? And then you just slide on over to OK, and there you go, it drops the line. Alright, and then we can go back to spline and start again on our next curve. Now, if you want to get your fit point spline up here, I'm not sure if it's by default up here, but you go to the fit point spline and you see these three little buttons that pop up. Click on that. Click Pin to Toolbar, and if you want, you can even hit Change Keyboard Shortcut right here and do as I have and create a shortcut for it, Shift S. Okay? Now we're just going to continue drawing out Mickey. Now, before I continue here, earlier we held down the right button until this menu popped up, right? Well, you don't have to wait for that menu to pop up. You can just click and drag. And you see that little blue line? It automatically will select OK. Shift S to open up my fit point spline again. Continue around Mickey's head, or his ear rather. And I'm doing this a little rough just to try to speed up a little bit here. Okay. Now, as you can see, I went ahead and traced all the way around Mickey here, and I'm all the way back to my last point, or my first point rather. So once I hit this first point and slide over and click OK, you can see it changes to this little solid piece. Alright, and this is the piece. This is going to be the outline of our cookie cutter. Now if you want, you can come up here and hit this little eyeball on the canvas, and that'll get your canvas out of the way. Alright, now the next thing we need to do is create our offsets for our cookie cutter, for our handle and our blade and such. So we're going to hit the keyboard shortcut O for offset, and then it's going to ask over here, sketch curves. So it wants us to select what we're offsetting. Alright, so you can see this all highlights. Now if you've done it right, the whole thing will highlight. Now sometimes you may have to do a couple of clicks, but as long as you've got the whole thing lit up. Alright, now click on it and you can see this little red outline. Alright, this little box here. It's asking for the dimensions of our offset. Alright, now if you're using inches like me, for the cutting edge I like to do 0.02 for the cutting edge. Alright, we're going to hit enter, and then we hit O again. Make sure you select the innermost curve. Okay, and then the box pops up again. The next one I like to do is 0.04, and I'll explain why in a minute. And one more important thing to note here, if your red line is on the inside of your highlighted line, you want to come up here and hit flip. Alright, and that's going to put it on the outside because we don't want Mickey to be any smaller than this shape, because these points will start to distort if you do things like that. Okay, so 0.04, hit enter, and then we're going to hit offset one more time. Click again, and then I like to do 0.15. Okay, and that's going to give us a nice handle. Alright, now you can see all our offsets are done. So next thing we need to do is make this thing 3D, right? We've got all our 2D lines drawn. So we're going to hit Extrude, or your keyboard shortcut E, and then you can see these black lines pop up. Okay, now click on the handle, and then another dialog box pops up asking for measurement. Hit 0.15 again. That'll give us a nice thick handle. Okay, now when I hit enter here, you can see my sketch went away. All of my offsets are gone. Even if I hit extrude again, they don't come back. Okay, so what you need to do is come over here to sketches, hit the little pop down menu, and you can see our sketch was automatically hidden after we did that last extrusion. So you click that again and our lines come back. Alright, and then you continue with your extrusions. Okay, now for this next one, we're going to do the innermost line, the one next to our handle. Alright, and for this one we're going to do 0.70. And then, last but not least, our cutting edge. Come here, make sure you click this last one, do 0.75. Alright, and now you're going to see why we did this in 2 stages. Okay, so if I zoom out, I can go ahead and hide my sketch now. I'm done with that. I'm going to hold down Shift, click my middle mouse button, and orbit. Whoop, it snapped on me. But you can see that's going to give us a nice little cutting edge there. Nice little thin edge. Okay? Now, this file is now ready, is fully ready to send to your 3D printer. Or send to your slicer, rather, not your 3D printer quite yet. Alright? But a lot of people like to do what's called a fillet. And that just gives it nice little rounded edges. Okay, so if you hit your keyboard shortcut F for fillet, and then click these walls, make sure you're not clicking the black lines, but you're clicking these walls, go around, make sure you click all of them, Get these in here. Oh, nope, see I messed up. Now if you mess up and click one of the lines, and this is true for the whole process here, if you make a mistake, just hit Control Z. And then we'll go back in. Make these couple of clicks. Making sure that the white pops up before we click. You can see one last little wall right there. Okay, now once you've clicked your last little wall, you can do this two ways. You can enter a dimension right here, or you can grab this little arrow, just slide it in. See? Okay. For this one, it can't make a fillet edge. Now, not gonna lie to you, that's the extent of my knowledge of this program. If it can't make the edge, honestly, I don't know how to make it. So let's do 0.01. Let's see if we can make a tiny one. Oh, it allowed 0.01, 0.02. Nope. 0.015. Yeah, that's a little bit of an edge. Alright, you can see smooths it out just a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Just to kill those sharp edges. Now, a lot of people like to do fillet along these edges. And you can do the same thing. Click all the way around on these little black lines, making sure you're clicking these black lines along this little edge here. Okay, and once you've clicked all the way around your shape, you can do the same thing with the little arrow. Okay, yeah, we see we're getting the same error. So I don't generally do those because there's a lot of extra filament you're putting in there. Well, it's not a lot, but it adds up if you're doing a bunch of cookie cutters. Okay, so now we're done with our cookie cutter file. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit save, and then we're going to give it a name. So I'm just going to put Mickey _ cutter, and then it's going to ask for a location. Now this is all cloud-based, so you're going to go to, it should be your username and first project. Alright, you can see all of my other cutters here, and then I'll just hit save. Okay, and that saved it to the cloud. But now we need to get it on our computer. So we're going to go to File, then we're going to Export, and then right here in this little box it says Type. Hit the little drop down menu and scroll all the way down till you see STL. Alright, as most of you may know, this is the file we want. Okay, and then you can give it a location. Find whatever location in your computer. This is where I'll save mine. And then click Export. And then it's going to send it to that location on your computer. Now it's done exporting. You can see right here, you can click here and it'll automatically open up a dialog box with your file. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Show in File Explorer. Alright, and there you can see that's the picture we saved, and here is our 3D file. Okay, now as you may notice, this little icon here, if you don't have this icon, that means you don't have Cura installed. Now Cura is a free program, so I highly recommend you get that. Or you can use Simplified 3D, which is a paid program. And there's lots of others. But I like Cura because it's a good program and it's free most of all. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. Double click on the file. If you have Cura installed, it'll automatically open up Cura. We can close these boxes while it opens up our file. You can see this is Cura opening up. Alright, now we have Cura open, and you can see this is our cookie cutter that we've made. Now, while we're in Cura, if you hold down right click, you can orbit the screen to look at it. Center mouse button is to pan the camera around. Alright, and then zoom is the same as it is in Fusion 360. Okay. Now, I've got a custom profile as you see here, but if you just use the standard quality profile, it'll do fine. Now, one thing I've noticed that really helps reduce stringing, if you go down, let's see where we can find it. Right here, travel. Okay, this is what we're looking for, travel. Hit this little wheel here, this little cog, and then it's going to give you all these options. Make sure you have these checked, these that I have here, okay, under travel. Alright, and then set it up just like this. Click combing mode, not in skin, and max comb distance with no retract to 30 millimeters. Check the retract before outer wall box, okay? Now, what combing is going to do is whenever your 3D printer is running along this edge making this print, now your program's designed to make this as fast and as efficient as possible. So it may determine that it's more efficient if it just makes this line, then stops and makes this line, and stops and makes this line, and stops and makes this line, right? And then does these other little details. Now what that's going to do is that's going to create strings from this to here, from here to here, wherever it jumps across, right? And we don't want that. So this greatly reduces. It doesn't eliminate totally, but it greatly reduces the stringing effect. Now, I'll just slowly scroll through here, and y'all can see all of my settings. Okay, and you can set it up just like I have it if you'd like. But this is what I find works best for my printer. Okay? Under support, there's nothing. Okay, so there's nothing special in there. Alright, and build plate adhesion, you want to make sure you have a skirt printed with your cutter. Okay? And now, after we've had all that set up, we're just going to go right here and click slice. Simple enough. Hour and 29 minutes, 13 grams of filament, 4.32 meters. Now you can see it automatically gave me the option to save to removable drive because I have mine plugged in. Now, if you unplug it, you can see it'll just say save to file, and then you can just save it to a location and put it on your SD card later. Like if you have your SD card in your printer and you don't want to use it at the moment, or it's printing something at the moment, you can't use it rather, you can save it on your computer, and then whenever it's done, you can just plug it back in and transfer it. Alright? But we don't need to do that, so we just click Save to Removable. And then right here it says Save to Removable Drive. Now, we can close out Cura, open up our File Explorer, go to our removable drive, and there it is right there. There's your G-code file for your printer. And that's it. Hope this helps. Y'all have a good one.